Okay. All right. I think we are recording. I'm going to, if everybody could just mute. Do you guys know how to mute? There's a little button in the bottom corner. Okay. All right. I'm still not on the speaker. Like somebody with a phone is on the speaker mode. And so anyway, we are going to go ahead and get started. This is wrapping up the 4 Color Personalities of MLM book. And a funny story to get us started here. I have probably read through these different colors 3 or 4 times, just familiarizing myself and learning. And when I got to this last section, I was flipping through the book and not a word was underlined. So I had just been reading about the colors and totally disregarding this last part of the book. But so I was going to say, if you have not read for tonight, I totally get it. And I'm just glad you're here. But this is really, really interesting. It was a very helpful part of the book. I wish I had read it before. But so he starts off and saying like, so we've read all the personality colors. What color are you? And just a quick recap. You've got red, which is very business, money, kind of driven personality. You've got the blues that love to talk and have fun. You've got the yellows that love to help people. And then you've got the greens that are all about the facts and the data. So that's just a big umbrella terms, but we can probably all find ourselves somewhere in there. And he said, you know, it is pretty normal to have a prominence in one color and then probably a secondary one that's fairly high as well, and that's okay. And another interesting thing that he talked about was you want to pick your personality color based on your personality and not like the job that you have. So if you have a job outside the home, it is possible to have a job that doesn't really fit your personality. So go based on how you feel and what you know, like what you are and not your job. So he had some interesting things, and maybe it's the green in me, but I thought he spent a lot of time getting into it. So I'm going to jump to page 62, where he said, you know, we're all trying to figure out what our color is, but the bottom line is that it doesn't really matter what color you are, because what does matter is the color that your potentials are, the people that you want to be on your team. You want to talk to them with language that is familiar and comfortable to them. So knowing what you are is great, but that's not the language that you're going to use when you're talking to the people that you want to join you. So discovering your prospect's secret language. And he said he issued a challenge to just talk to somebody that you don't know really well, just spend a couple minutes and see if you could pick out their personality based on some of like the buzzwords that he's mentioned up till now. And he said that even him, who he's been doing this for a long time, he said, really only about 50% of the time are you accurately going to tell the color of the person that you're talking to. And he said that, by focusing on, here's what I was gonna say. So, but that's a great challenge to give ourselves, is to talk to one person every day, and just like no agenda. You're not trying to do anything except for to get to know their personality. So that was really interesting, I thought, because it helps you to learn how to ask questions and to listen. And I think those are 2 really good qualities that we need to have to grow our businesses. So it's a good challenge to give yourself just every day. Try to talk to somebody and just to see if you can figure out what their color personality is. Because I was thinking, you know, it's by learning to focus on other people, you know, we're listening to them and about them, and then we're not so much caught up in what we want, you know, from them. And that's a really bad habit to get into anyway. So he said no agenda means quality conversations. You can do it without possibility of being rejected. You could find a new friend, and it's easy to do. So the one way that he ended talking about this quote unquote challenge was to say that by doing this regularly, like once a day, you're going to get good at recognizing the color personalities. You're going to get better and better, and maybe even get over that 50% success rate. The second thing is you're going to have 365 new contacts after a year of taking this challenge. And third is with the way things work out, you can have 20, 30, or even 40 strangers that get to know you and ask you what you do for a living, and they might want to know more about that. So it's just a natural way to get to know people, and then which is what we do, right? Okay. I'm going to jump to page. Oh, hey Shannon, I don't think you're muted. Could you hit the mute button, please? Okay, so one thing that he mentioned that I thought was really interesting. I don't know how to mute somebody. When you're trying to figure out.
Hey, Cody, or Chris, if you go to participants, click on participants, and then there will be a thing that says like mute all.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so out of the 4 color personalities, you have red and green, which are pretty, or no, you have red and blue, which are the outgoing personalities. So if you're talking to somebody and they seem pretty outgoing, you can kind of narrow it down to them. And then you've got yellow and green that are more reserved. So that's one huge tip that we have into kind of narrowing down who we're talking to. And then also, like, when you're talking, just really listen for the buzzwords. Like yellows are going to talk about helping and giving in different ways. Blues, I think it's hilarious how he always talks about how, like, they're just talking and they go from subject to subject to subject to subject. There's no direction. They're just talking. Reds, like, they just want you to get to the point. Like, if you're talking and you kind of start to see their eyes glaze over, you might be talking to a red, especially a yellow, who I just like to talk about all the things. And then, like, if you're trying to get into a conversation with somebody and this person says, well, actually, could you just email or text me that information? You might be talking to a green. They just don't really want to talk to people. So, I don't know, did anybody, I don't want to get down a rabbit hole, but maybe put in the comments if you took that challenge and if you've tried to pick out somebody's color personality that you didn't know. I think that's a really fun challenge. Now, I don't know why I can't see my chat section. Anyway, I'm having all sorts of technical issues. I am more yellow than green, apparently. So I'm going to skip. Next part I wanted to talk about was on page 76. So we all have that thing where, like, we're doing the stuff, we're sharing the videos, we're doing the thing, and we get a no, right? So he says on page 76, which I thought was genius, he says, we don't need better PowerPoint presentations and we don't need better videos and brochures. Those things aren't the problem. The problem is us. If we fail to translate our message into the color language of our prospect, then nothing will save us. And that really struck me because, you know, especially after convention, we have all these amazing videos that Plexus gives us, right? I mean, they just make them readily available in our back office, and they're all over YouTube. And, you know, we have so many resources. So it's not the resources. I mean, those are awesome, but that's not the real issue. We have to put some work into it, into figuring out who are we sending this to, what is important to them, and what is going to speak to them to move them closer to where they're ready to join us and get the help they need, right? So I loved that part. And then he says there are 3 magic questions. So the 3 magic questions that can help you in quickly identifying the color personality is 1, what do you do for a living? Now, again, our job personality can be different than our, regular personality, but this can be a good indication. Number 2, what do you do with your free time? So this can be a lot more accurate, he says, because people choose what they do with their free time. And the 3rd question he likes to ask is, what do you like most about your job or hobby? And so this question exposes their feelings, and their feelings really show their color personality most accurately, he said. So he goes on to list from like 81 to 89 the different words associated with the colors. But what I thought was interesting was after that, he talks about different ways of motivating the different colors. So whether you already have people on your team or whether you're trying to bring more people on, what motivates the yellows? Well, money is not really going to motivate yellows. It all goes back to the key word of help. So talking about Plexus's Nourish One incentive and the different ways that they like to give and serve, and encouraging us to serve in our communities, that would be something that would speak to a yellow. He said if you have a group local to you, potluck dinners speak to yellow personalities because we just love to bring food places, right? My yellows, you know what I mean? Motivating the blues, he says that's pretty easy. Anything to do with travel and parties. He says, to a blue, you simply say, we're having a party after the opportunity meeting just for distributors who bring a guest. Well, they're going to bring a guest because blues want to go to the party. To motivate the reds, again, he says that's pretty easy because reds are already self-motivated. They're hardwired for achievements and results. And he says winning is living. And you reds can pop in here and say whether you agree with that. But I thought it was interesting because, I think there are a high number of diamonds that are yellow, but pretty much everybody needs some reds on their team. So how do you attract the reds? He says, step 1, give a red a compliment. Step 2, give the red another compliment. And step 3, give the red a challenge. So he gave some examples and he says, so you could tell your team member or your potential, or this would be a team member, you're the best presenter on my team and you know more people in the metro area than anyone I know. But Alice sponsored 5 new distributors last week, and I don't think you could ever beat her record. That's like waving a red, the red cape in front of the bull is like, it is on. So things like that are challenges for the reds and motivating. So kind of on the flip side of that, motivating the greens, he says you can't motivate the greens. Don't invest a lot of time here because green personalities are self-motivated and they're going to move at their own pace. So, but again, I think that can make some of the different team challenges and the different things that we try to do to grow our businesses, it can make it kind of hard because like we have these challenges of like reach out to 50 people a day. Well, the reds and the blues are like, heck yeah, I can do that. That's awesome. And the yellows and the greens are over there like, I don't think so. That doesn't sound like something I want to do. So, you always just try to think about like your personality color and your strengths, and then work to maybe like grow a little bit and learn from the other people of, we've got some really powerhouse reds on our team with Cody and Danielle and Ingrid, and they're all ranking up like crazy. That is definitely incentive for a yellow to go, okay, I need to step up my game, right? Okay, 9:50. Okay, so the last thing, in summary, he said our job as communicators is to transfer the message inside of our minds to the minds of others. And I thought that paralleled beautifully with what Genevieve Scory said at the convention when she said that sales are basically a transfer of inspiration. So we are trying to take what we have learned and what we know about what Plexus and the opportunity can do and share that with our team and with new potentials to bring onto our team. To be effective, we have to speak in the languages of that others understand. You have to speak in their language, and that was another thing that they talked about at convention was we want to be fishermen and not hunters. So we want to attract people to us, not scare them, not, be all dressed in camo and then go, try to hop out at them. So basically the overall message of this book, have fun observing people and really get ready to just enjoy communicating with people and learning about them, and so that you can share the wonderful things that is Plexus. So that was a quick wrap up, and if anybody wants to unmute and share some of your takeaways, I would love that.
So I just want to speak on thing about the Reds where they're saying give them a compliment, and then a challenge. I'm just going to put it out there. If somebody ever said that to me, I'd probably want to punch you in your face. Saying like, oh, you're this. And so-and-so did that. Like, my competitiveness is seeing somebody else do that. I'm like, okay, I need to do better. But if you were to say to me, like, hey, so-and-so's like just did this, I wouldn't appreciate that. So don't do that. There may be some Reds, again, like if I see it happening, I'm like, well, crap, she's doing this. I need to like step up my game. But
well, that's I guess what he's talking about with you're self-motivated. You're going to notice that on your own, right?
Yeah.
You need to be like outwardly challenged.
Yeah. That may work for some. I mean, Cody and I are very different Reds. Ingrid and I feel like are a little bit more similar in certain things. So maybe they would feel differently, but I just think that's I wouldn't say that to somebody.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. And I am a smidge Red. That's like my secondary, I think. But like Cody's always great about saying like, hey, this instant or this convention prize, you are very close. If you just do X, Y, and Z, you can get there. I believe in you. That motivates me more than she's doing better than you, right?
Yes.
Like that's so unhealthy.
Yeah. Like I said, if I see that you're doing better than me, then secretly I'm gonna be like, okay, I need to like do the things, but yeah. I wouldn't point it out.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So we will not be issuing challenges for the Red.
I don't know. Ingrid or Cody, maybe you guys are different.
Well, I think you can still issue challenges, but it's just like Rebecca just said, how Cody, you're really challenging yourself, right? Especially like if you go back to the convention contest, it's not like saying, well, look, so-and-so won this, that, and the other, so you just need to do X, Y, and Z to also win this, that, and the other. It's really just putting that challenge out there, like you only have to do X, Y, and Z to get to that next level, and I know you can do it. So it's still putting that challenge out there, but it's not like putting you against somebody else. You know what I mean? Because I think, as a Red, I love a good competition. I love a good contest. I love, if there's something to be won, I'm probably going for it. So, but I'm competing against myself. You know what I mean? Like every day I'm trying to just do better than I did yesterday, but keep my eyes on my own mat for sure.
Yeah. And for a blue, it helped that the prize was a giant party.
That is true. Well, and I don't know. What about I know that we have a lot of yellows. I'm not sure who all is yellow on this, but I know like for me, and Trisha, you said you're becoming more Red. So these challenges and everything are starting to speak to you a little bit more. But like for me, I'm noticing that that's not what motivates me. I'm not really motivated to buy the prize. It's more like I need something more that's going to speak to like, you know, how many people or are you helping or, you know, all that kind of stuff. I do better, I guess, with those. What do you, anybody want to talk about that? Hello? Anybody?
I was waiting to see if any of the yellows responded.
Come on, yellows.
I don't know if we have very many yellows on here actually right now. I'm kind of looking at who's on. Stevie's yellow, right?
Yeah.
But
The
she's
share this book, the
sleeping.
less I feel yellow. I hate to cook, so I don't like to share food with people. I'm like, dang, maybe I'm not as yellow as I thought.
I think I told you that at
Being
convention
motivated.
actually.
What?
I think I told you that at convention.
You did.
I did.
You did.
Like, I'm not sure you're yellow.
Oh, I definitely am, but not as much as maybe we thought. Chris, you mentioned I'm finding that I'm motivated by like the contests and stuff. For me though, I'm motivated to not be left behind. So I don't know where that falls because it's not the prize. It's not I have to be the best. It's I don't want to be the one who didn't win. I want to be with everybody. So that still feels yellow. That still feels it's about
that
the
is
people.
blue, my friend.
Kind of blue.
Oh, I got some blue too.
Blue.
I feel like that's kind of red too. So maybe that's like just a common thing because
It's a
I think
rainbow.
that's like the competitive part.
On the
Like,
rainbow.
yeah.
And all those colors make brown. So
Isn't that the quote from convention? I'm poop.
I said I've pooped. I don't know what color I am. Somebody tell me.
So funny. Well, I think, you know, like he said, we're all parts of all the different colors, but you know, really what is most important to you, Trisha, is helping people. So that's where I think your yellow comes in. I love to bake, but honestly, I'm not doing that as much because I would much rather learn about how to grow my business right now, and I'm working more on that. So I'm not taking stuff to the potlucks like I used to. So I'm not any less yellow, I don't think, just because I'm not feeding people as much as I used to. But yeah.
Chris, your priorities have changed and you're growing, you know, your personal growth. And so you're going to change. And I definitely think you're yellow. And I think Trisha has a lot of yellow, but I think she's got some red too. And I love, Rebecca, that you're blue.
Yay!
I love that.
You know, and it was really convention that confirmed that for me because I had so much fun.
I should have been there. I am kicking myself. Oh my gosh.
Well, next year, definitely.
Oh, I'm coming. There's no doubt. I'm coming. I don't care. I don't know. I'm getting there.
That's what it takes.
Well, can I talk about this children's book now?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this is a children's book that is the yellow, all four color personalities put to animals. So it's called The Treasure Tree. The otter is the blue personality. The beaver is the green personality. The golden retriever is the yellow, and the lion is the red personality. It's a chapter book, and I love this book. It is written by Christians, but it's written in a way that's not Christian-y. Like there's proverbs, but anyway, I just love it. And there used to be a quiz in the back when my kids ripped it out, so then you can like have your kids like take the quiz and see what animal they are, but you as a mom know exactly what animal your kids are. But we totally love this book, so just had to recommend it.
Who's the author?
John Trent and Gary Smalley.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I found it on Amazon today. It's old because let me see when it was written. It was written in 1992, but it's still on Amazon. So
Cool.
yeah.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add? We are right at 10 o'clock. Okay. Well, I think that'll be it for now. We have next week off because it's the 4th of July. How crazy is that? It's the 4th of July already. And then the week after that, we get to start developing the leaders around you, which is a book I haven't read yet. I am super excited about this book. Okay. Do you have anything to add, Cody?
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
No, Chris, you were awesome. Thank you for rounding out that amazing book. I'm excited about the next one.
Yes, me too.
It's going to be good.
All right, guys. Have a good rest of the evening if you're not going to bed.
Night, ladies.
Not yet.
Bye.
Night.